Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Travis Thomas. Tonight I'm going to give you a presentation about how to break down and clean an M4 service rifle. The malfunction of this rifle at the wrong time can cost you your life. It's important for you guys to know how to break down and inspect, clean, and lubricate the parts of it. I've been carrying this weapon for 3 years now. 15 months of that, it's actually been field ops or deployments that I've been literally having this on a sling attached to my body at all times. First, I'm going to start with the external components of the weapon. We have our RCO or ACOG. This is used for aiming at your targets, but you could also use it to identify maybe some wire sticking out of the ground from an IED from a distance, so you can see that from farther away. This brown box right here is called a PEC 15. What that's used for is for giving either a red laser or an infrared laser, and it even can do a infrared spotlight that you can only see when you're wearing your night vision goggles. This front part, it is called a compensator. When you fire, the slug shoots out, and then air behind the slug will go out the top. And normally, when you recoil, the weapon's going to go up, but that air coming out the top will press it back down, so you don't lose so much accuracy when you're firing. This part back here is a retractable buttstock. When it's fully extended, you have accuracy up to 500 meters, and when it's back, it's good for close quarter combat if you have to enter houses. We're going to start with the disassembly of the weapon now. The first thing you do is you clear the weapon. Rack back the charging handle and look in the chamber to make sure there's no brass in there. Slide the bolt back home. Then we take out the forward and rear takedown pins. This will separate our lower receiver from our upper receiver. You then pull the charging handle on the bolt assembly at the back of the rifle. Here we can begin to break down the bolt. You start by removing the firing pin retaining pin. That is so awesome. Thank you. We then remove the firing pin. Make sure to keep all these in a safe location so you don't lose them. You then remove the bolt retaining pin. And finally the bolt slides out. At this point, your weapon, you can clean all the parts of the bolt assembly group, the lower receiver and the upper receiver, the most important working parts of the weapon. Time to reassemble our weapon. First, we put the bolt back in the bolt receiver group. Then we put the bolt retaining pin. Next goes the firing pin. And finally followed by the firing pin retaining pin. Now at the same time this all slides into our upper receiver. Charging handle sits in there nicely. Place the bolt receiver group, or the bolt assembly group, slides right in. Then attach the upper receiver and the lower receiver. This doesn't complete the assembly of the weapon. Before we know this is going to fire, we have to do an operations check. We do this first by clearing the weapon. Once again, make sure there's no brass in the chamber. There's not. Slide the bolt back home. An operations check is performed by taking the weapon off the safe, putting it on fire, pulling the trigger and listening for a click. Success. Thanks guys, I hope you learned something from this presentation. Have a good night.